Hello everyone, I hope 2024 was a great year for you, and in this video we're going to be looking at all of the pop culture highlights from this year. So without any further ado, let's hop right into it. So if you're a fan of comic book movies, you might know that this year wasn't really too great for comic book movies. Part of that is because there's a lot of changes going on in the MCU where it seems like they're trying to focus on quality over quantity, and so their future's looking a little different. And then they also delayed some of the stuff that would have came out this year, like Captain America 4. And then when it comes to DC, they obviously have their new universe coming out next year with the new Superman movie. And so when it came to comic book movies this year, there weren't that many, with there obviously being 3 new Sony Spider-Verse movies. Madam Web and Kraven both got negative reviews and bombed at box office, while the new Venom movie, similar to the other two, got more mixed reviews. The only DC movie that came out this year was the sequel to Joker, which ended up getting negative reviews and bombing very hard at the box office. It's actually very interesting if you look at it. The original Deadpool movie was the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. And then the second Deadpool movie took its place, and then Joker surpassed it. But this year it seemed like it would either be down to the new Deadpool movie or the Joker movie to become the new highest grossing R-rated film of all time. And it was the new Deadpool movie by a landslide. Inside Out 2 was actually the highest grossing film of 2024 and the new highest grossing animated film of all time. Some of the other big movies that came out this year was the new Despicable Me movie, Moana 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, Dune Part 2, Wicked, the new Godzilla and Kong film. There's a new Bad Boys movie, a Christopher Reeve documentary. Gladiator 2 also came out. There was Sonic 3 and the prequel to The Lion King about Mufasa. The Oscars for the 2023 films were also held, with Oppenheimer winning 7 of them, including Best Picture. And by the way, while I said it wasn't a great year for comic book films, there were quite a few comic book shows that came out. There was a new Penguin series, the Batman Caped Crusader series, Season 2 of My Adventures with Superman, Season 4 of Superman and Lois, and Creature Commandos, which earlier I said Superman would be starting the DCU, but this is actually the first DCU project. There were a few Marvel shows as well, like Echo, X-Men 97, Agatha All Along, and Season 3 of What If. There were some other big shows this year too, like a new season of The Boys and Invincible. There were 2 new Star Wars shows, The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. And not to mention, SpongeBob hit its 300th episode this year, which was a big landmark. A lot of people have been talking about Taylor Swift this year. She had a new album come out called The Tortured Poets Department. And to be completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Taylor Swift. There were some other new songs this year that were pretty big, like Dancing in the Flames by The Weeknd. He made some other songs this year as well. Some YouTubers actually made their musical debuts, like Nick A30 with his pretty good song. KSI also had a pretty popular song this year, but when I say popular, it wasn't really popular because people liked it. Interestingly enough, in September, there was actually some music found that was written by Mozart, likely in the 1760s. But he's not the only person with new music releasing after his death. There was actually a new Juice WRLD album of unreleased Juice WRLD music called The Party Never Ends. And they even added him in Fortnite. Overall, there was quite a bit of interesting stuff going on in the music realm, like Kendrick Lamar's popular diss on Drake, a song called Not Like Us. And surprisingly, that's not the most controversial controversy regarding a music artist this year. So every year you have new memes going viral online, and a lot of what people like to do now is combine all these different brain rot terms like Skibbity, Riz, Ohio, Phantom Tax, and all that kind of stuff. And so some of this stuff that came out in 2022 or 2023 and would have been dead by now is no longer dead because people like to combine certain words with other words, and all I can say is Gen Alpha is cooked. Some of the new memes though that came out this year include What's Up Brother, English or Spanish, Knee Surgery, and I'm Just a Chill Guy. An interesting group of influencers that rose to fame this year is the Costco guys.
5 big booms!
Okay.
Boom!
Okay. Yeah, boom, yeah, 5.
There's a lot of other interesting stuff going on too, with Nikocado Avocado now being skinny. Not to mention, Mr. Beast actually finally passed T-Series in June, and within the next month he hit 300 million subscribers. Also, a similar big milestone was Crow Ranneberger hitting 200k subscribers and then shaving his head. Not to mention, Crow Ranneberger, me, and I Do Know Nothing were all featured in a Sunny V2 video. It was the most random thing that ever happened to me, but I will definitely accept it. But going back to Mr. Beast, he actually made a new recipe for his Feastables, and I had the regular popular milk chocolate flavor, and to be completely honest, I don't think it's an improvement over his previous recipe, and if anything, it tastes way more like Hershey's than it used to, when his whole marketing gimmick was the fact that it's better than Hershey's. Not to mention, Mr. Beast has collabed with KSI and Logan Paul for the lunch sleeve, and to be completely honest, people haven't had very positive reactions to that. But speaking of the Paul brothers, so as many of you know, Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson in a boxing match that was on Netflix, and I think a lot of people were just kind of wanting Mike Tyson to win because it's Mike Tyson, but unfortunately that's just not what happened, and Jake Paul won by a landslide. I guess Mike Tyson just didn't drink enough Prime or something. But to be completely honest, either way, people weren't going to be happy with Jake Paul, because he either would have got beaten up by a senior citizen and been embarrassed, or he would have beaten up a senior citizen, which is what he did, and now everyone's mad at him for it. Now, if we go back earlier in the year, Super Bowl 58 occurred, which was the Super Bowl for the 2023 NFL season, and the Chiefs wound up beating the 49ers a second time. And if we fast forward a little, UConn won March Madness, and not to mention Paris hosted the Summer Olympics, and it seemed like Snoop Dogg was everywhere there. So the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid book this year was called Hot Mess, and to be completely honest, I thought it was pretty decent, probably the best book since like number 15, but overall that's really all I have to say about that. So there's been a lot of interesting stuff going on in games like Fortnite, which at the beginning of the year, Chapter 5 was still pretty new, with all of those new game modes like Lego Fortnite and Main Stage, and later on there was an absolute Doom season, which was the second time an entire season was dedicated to the Marvel theme, and I'm surprised we got a second Marvel season before we got like a DC season or a Star Wars season, but I still thought it was pretty good. After 4 seasons of Chapter 5, we got a Chapter 2 remixed, which was okay. There were some things I liked and some things that probably could have been improved upon. There was collaborations with Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and Ice Spice, and then after that, Fortnite moved on to Chapter 6, which I think is just becoming a thing now where all the Fortnite chapters are only going to be 4 seasons now. Obviously, Minecraft is a very popular video game as well, and it's now getting adapted into a movie, with the internet going crazy over the trailer that came out, and I don't mean that in a good way. If you're a fan of Brawlhalla, you might have noticed there were some pretty cool crossovers this year, like for example with SpongeBob and Star Wars, but a lot of mobile games like Block Blast have been pretty popular, and I really don't understand why people like Block Blast so much, but it feels like everywhere I go someone's playing it. And GTA 6 has still not come out, and every time something crazy happens, everyone just makes a joke about how it happened before GTA 6 came out. There was some pretty interesting stuff going on in the fast food industry, like Mr. Beast's collab with Zaxby's, and there were a lot of cases where restaurants had unique items that they don't typically have, like for example Taco Bell did a Mountain Dew Baja Blast Gelato, and McDonald's had their Double Big Mac earlier in the year, and then pretty recently they did the Chicken Big Mac. The McRib also returned a second time after its farewell tour in 2022, but I'm sure this is definitely the last time it'll ever be in.
Bruh.
Popeyes released their Golden Barbecue Chicken Sandwich, which I'm pretty sure I had that, or at least something similar to it, and it was pretty good. A lot of restaurants wanted to bring people in with their cheap stuff, like for example McDonald's did a $5 meal, and then Taco Bell's been doing its value menu. There were also some pretty interesting collabs, like McDonald's doing an anime collab and becoming WickDonald's, and they also collabed with movies like Sonic 3 and the new Captain America movie, which that movie's not coming out until February of next year. But the reason they already did the collab was because the film was originally scheduled to release this year. McDonald's doesn't really change its schedules when it comes to Happy Meal tie-ins and that kind of stuff. Wendy's also collabed with SpongeBob and did a Krabby Patty meal. And Burger King collabed with the Addams Family and did a Purple Whopper, which they're always doing interesting colors of Whoppers. I can't even think of a color they haven't done at this point. But overall, those were the 2024 pop culture highlights. Let me know what you thought of them in the comments section down below, and if there was anything I missed that you want to mention, let me know down there as well. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and Happy New Year.